Sick of being in bed? I'm not. Whoosh. Pre-runners. Get out of my house.
Alright, so once upon a time, there was a spider and there was a man, and they got thrown in a blender, and they created one of the most iconic superheroes of all time, SpiderMan. So SpiderMan ended up spawning comics, TV shows, merchandise, more merchandise, movies. That movie. Yeah, there you go. And that movie got a game. And then that game was amazing. I loved it. This is probably the movie game that showed everyone how to do a movie game. Sure, there was GoldenEye, but I think that was a bit of a fluke. Plus, this game knew not to take itself too seriously.
Check out the compass. Your compass will point straight towards your next objective. Up on the compass means forward to you. You follow me? Well, stop following me or I'll have you arrested.
The only other true movie game I can think of that was as good as this is, well, probably Spider-Man 2 for the PS2, but I didn't have that one. Couldn't afford that extra letter. Number, whatever. You'll find the Spider-Man. Prototype or Infamous 2. Sorry about the tie, but they're just both so damn good. And in a lot of ways, they're pretty similar. So, they get to share the number 8 spot. Now, Prototype 2 is a pretty radical game. You see what no, but seriously, that wasn't just an Activision. You play as a guy who got powers and is pissed about it, so it's a big old revenge plot on the guy who did it to him. The pacing is great, the controls are great, there's some damn good variety, and surprisingly enough, one of the best executed stealth systems I've ever seen. Now to Infamous 2. In this game, you're an Electric Man guy, and Godzilla over here's come downtown to shake the place up, so you gotta grab some things then fight him off. This game is fun for a lot of the same reasons. While the variety and pacing might not be as good, it has a lot more characters that you can get invested in and twists and turns in the story. So basically, you can pick either for what you consider deserves 8 on this list. I'd probably go with Prototype 2, but if you'd rather a more engaging storyline than just kill that guy, then you should probably go with Infamous 2. Now, Grand Theft Auto was a part of everyone's life when they were growing up. The feeling of doing whatever you wanted in a game was introduced to a lot of people by this series. A lot of the appeal for this game came from the fact that you could just sort of go anywhere, do what you want, which, in contrast to a lot of games coming out back then, was pretty fresh. A big problem for me, though, was the further Grand Theft Auto went in this series, the more it got, like, really serious. I know a lot of people like serious, but it comes to a point where you really actually feel like a loser in New York. Yeah, okay, you're supposed to be immersed in the game and you're supposed to feel like a loser, but when you're playing a downgraded version of Wii Sports Bowling, you know something's wrong. I mean, okay, when I was like a stupid little kid and I saw people playing GTA, I was like, oh cool, you can fly around in helicopters and stuff, this is awesome. So, when I got a bit older, I picked up the game, and yeah, that's what I did. I flew around in helicopters, did whatever, but what I didn't realize at the time was, that's it. There's nothing more to the game. The story is frustrating. The story is uninteresting. The story is just completely disengaging. Alright, so the storyline's ruled out. What am I going to do in free roaming? I can fly around in helicopters. Okay, cool. I could shoot people, I guess. But there's no reward given to you for it, so there's really no point for doing it more than 5 minutes. And don't even get me started on the broken driving mechanics. Now here comes the fun part. When GTA got to a certain point, Volition Incorporated saw their game, they photocopied it, threw it out on stores with the name Saints Row. So it got money, yada yada, whatever, but Volition went the opposite direction of Rockstar on this serious meter thing. So Grand Theft Auto ended up getting more serious and serious, but Saints Row got more and more ridiculous. So by the time Saints Row the 3rd came out, you were jumping out of jets, you were slapping people with dildos, plus Saints Row's roads aren't made out of ice. It really shows how realism doesn't equal fun. Realism can work, but Saints Row proves that it's not nearly worth sacrificing control or game mechanics just so it simulates life a bit better. And that is why it most definitely deserves to kick GTA out of the ring and take 7th place in the top 10 free roamers of all time. Number 6, Batman, free roamer, beat guys up, punch a shark, joke's cool, story's wicked, there's long credits, there's Catwoman, and Robin, and Nightwing, and Penguin, and Mr. Freeze, but he's not played by Schwarzenegger, Batman. Don't have a game for the number 5 spot? Aliens. Oh wait a minute, Aliens! Destroyer Humans 2 had you playing as an alien who could fly around in a UFO, take control of other people, and even use guns that ripped brains out through people's anuses. It was fantastic, and it's one of the few game series that's actually really funny.
Police headquarters, Officer Johnson.
Hey, why the long face?
What?
The game takes you to different places around the world, like New York, Tokyo, China, etc. Probably the best part of this game is the UFO, though. You can actually pick up tanks and make them kiss other tanks. Come on. Kiss. There you go. Now earlier I ripped on GTA, but don't get me wrong, I love Rockstar. It's just I don't really like Grand Theft Auto as much as the rest of the world's population. So, here we have Red Dead Redemption. It's like GTA, but on a horse. And if you put anything on a horse, it's got to be good. Okay, maybe not. But Red Dead's still fun, damn it! Plus it has one of the best DLC to date. Undead Nightmare. So basically you play as this badass who did bad stuff once, but now he doesn't really like hookers, so the government pushes him around and says after he does all his random stuff he'll get his family back. How sweet. Even though there's a redemption story, you can still be bad. I'm not really sure how that plays out though. I was a good boy. See? Good boy. Dead Rising 2 off the record. I was skeptical about putting this one on this list because it's hard to determine whether this can be considered a free roamer or not. The whole series is so damn unique that it's basically its very own genre. Dead Rising 2 off the record, but Dead Rising 1, that was the coolest free roamer. It was a very original concept. Blah, blah, blah. No, look, okay, Dead Rising 1 had the original concept, but that doesn't mean Dead Rising 2 off the record didn't. The reason Off the Record is so high on this list is, yes, partly because of its originality, which rooted from Dead Rising 1, but also because it built and improved on the already established formula. If nobody was allowed to improve what they've made, we'd all be running around in loincloths with iPhone 1s. So as I was saying, it's hard to say whether it's a free roamer at all, but I'm just gonna go ahead and say it counts, especially with this installment having the sandbox mode in there. Now, Dia basically gets the good bits from Dead Rising 1 and Dead Rising 2 and squashes them together and throws in some brand new spices to bake a sensational cake that should please all. And I'm surprised Capcom was the one who made something so unique this generation. Between scamming people with on-disc DLC, recycling the same games, and trolling the entire Mega Man fanbase, it's hard to believe that there's still some good people in that company. Or maybe Dead Rising was the last we saw of those good people. But whatever the case is, this game is damn unique. Also, a quick note, I got this for Games for Windows Live. Yeah, very funny. Look, it's no Steam, but I think the majority of people ought to give it a break. Of course, it may give you trouble if you didn't already have an Xbox Live account before using it, but it still works alright.
Plus, it adds to your gamer score.
Let's take a look through the Elder Scrolls games. Well, excluding the first two, I never played them. So I guess that brings us to Morrowind. This game is fine, but unless you're willing to pull out a pen and paper to write down what everyone's saying...
Gonna have a bad time!
So yeah, sorry people, anything that's gotta make me interact with real life isn't gonna make it on this list. On to Oblivion. It was pretty good. And I played plenty of it. It was the first Elder Scrolls I had played, in fact. But so many of the environments, specifically the dungeons, were basically copy-pasted, which really gets on my nerves. I know Skyrim did this as well, but it was to a much lesser extent. So here we are at Skyrim, which sometimes feels repetitive, but not nearly as bad. And with all of its added features, including the surprisingly not gimmicky shout system, Skyrim by far takes its rightful place on this list. Honestly, I was going to swap Skyrim with Dead Rising 2 off the record and argue that the Dead Rising series was much more original, but one, no. And two, I have put so many more hours into Skyrim. I mean, so many. How many, you ask? Still not enough, that's how many. That's a number now. It can replace 9. 'Cause 7, 8, 9. No more heroes! No, okay. Let's pick out good bits from all the games so far. A sense of humor. Different environments and times of day. Awesome ways to get around. Radical gameplay. Over-the-top ridiculousness. Witty AI dialogue. Aliens. Unlockable costumes. Zombies. An expansive universe. Now let's say we got all these things and more and offered them to the gods. What would they create out of it? Why, of course. How could I be so ignorant? From the heavens above was sent this god itself, sent from Radical and Vivendi. It is the one, the only, the legendary Simpsons Hit and Run. That's right, a Simpsons game hit #1, and you know what? It deserves it. This was full of things to do. I watched Simpsons daily when I was a kid, so I was so excited to play this. And it really did deliver to both the common player and the Simpsons fan, as you got to roam through different sections of Springfield as all your favourite Simpsons family members. Yep, that's right. Homer, Marge, Bart, Lisa, and... Apu? Does this look right to you? Does this look right to you?
I tell you what, you're a bad little boy.
But I digress. As well as exploring through the familiar Springfield universe, you could also find ridiculous amounts of references. You could tell Radical Entertainment really put their all into this. You like this episode?
So long, suckers!
Bam, it's in the game. What about this one? Bam, it's in there too. How about this? Well then, bam.
And the dirt is gone.
The game also packs a punch with all the unlockable vehicles, the costumes, the races, and having the whole Simpsons cast on board really sets an enthralling experience. For a game based off a TV show, it definitely surprises me with its soundtrack and storyline. They're both really original and memorable, while still giving a Simpsons atmosphere. This underrated gem went with no sequel or even remake. I feel like not nearly enough people got to experience one of Radical Entertainment's best games, and that's saying a lot. Imagine if there was a sequel to this on the new generation of consoles, with an even bigger world to explore and references to newer episodes that have since been released. But then again, if there was a sequel today, everything would be a goddamn DLC! Although whether it gets its recognition or not, this is definitely my favourite free roamer of all time. But you know, anybody who still thinks that Roland calling you to stop some loan sharks or whatever, better not need their testicles. Thanks for watching my video. I really hope that you hate me as a person, disagree with my opinions, and want me to end it all. Because that would make me very happy. Try and troll me now! I got you! You can't do anything about it!